Hi, this is Rich Scheidner. And if you've ever wondered what it was like to be a stand-up comedian in the 1980s, I'm going to do you a big favor. Instead of billions of dollars for a time machine, you can just spend $24.95 and buy my new book, Kicking Through the Ashes, My Life as a Stand-Up in the 1980s Comedy Boom. It will save you money and give you thrills. It will take you there. Go to my website, richscheidner.com, go to amazon.com, and buy this book.
So much media, so little time. Who keeps track of it all? That would be me. This is Bob Andelman, and this is a Mr. Media interview. I haven't goofed that one up before. Broadcast and recorded live on blogtalkradio.com from the new media and baseball capital of the world, St. Petersburg, Florida. Actor Kirk Douglas will be 92 in December. 92! I'm roughly half his age, and from everything I've heard about him of late, he's got twice the energy and drive that I do. And, you know, every generation of the last 60 years can no doubt point to a favorite Kirk Douglas movie, whether it's Champion, Paths of Glory, Lust for Life, Spartacus, or Tough Guys. As for me, I'm a little odd in my taste. I've always had a fondness for the cartoon silliness of The Villain. Mr. Douglas's latest autobiographical book, his fourth by my count, is Let's Face It, 90 Years of Living, Loving, and Learning. It was just released in paperback. It joins an already crowded bookshelf of his memories, including The Ragman Son, Climbing the Mountain, My Search for Meaning, and My Stroke of Luck. Kirk Douglas, welcome to Mr. Media.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
I'm celebrating here in the Santa Barbara because the paperback edition of my last book, Let's Face It, comes out this Monday. And I'm very proud of that book because I dedicated it to your younger generations. Because let's face it, the world is in a mess, and the young kids will inherit that mess. So we older people have to do what we can to help them. That's why I go on my space to talk to you younger people, and it's very gratifying.
Mr. Douglas, what gives you such a connection to young people? I know you have children and grandchildren. Is it that, or is it something more?
Well, of course. I have 7 grandchildren. I have 4 sons. And you see, my parents were Russian immigrants, never went to school, came to this country to give me a better chance in life. And because they made that voice, I was able to go to college and into the field of acting, which I love. But now we have to be concerned with our children. What are we going to do for them? Because let's face it, the world is a mess.
Have you always been political, Mr. Douglas?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Have you always been political and had political interests?
I don't know what that means, think politically. I just want our country to remain the best country in the world where people have a chance. Only in America do we have a chance. Even in the political circle, we now have a woman running, a African American running. I think that's all advancement to give everybody an equal chance.
Mr. Douglas, on top of your many interests, you're leading a MySpace.com campaign to have the United States apologize for slavery. What kind of prompted this, and is it... Go ahead.
That's one of the issue I brought up in my book. Let's face it, several years ago, I have been working on this project. I think we should make a formal apology for the egregious actions toward African Americans before the Civil War and after the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
Because if a strong country like ours shows the humility to apologize for such an act, I think it will have a good impact around the world. We're not so popular now around the world.
And how is the campaign? How is the campaign going?
Well, I have listened last year to all the presidential candidates to have them consider the apology. Of course, you know, Senator Cohen from Tennessee led a campaign in the House of Representatives, and they passed a bill to issue a formal apology. Now it goes to the Senate. I hope that they concur, and it's a small thing, but it's a very important thing. And I think the world will appreciate it, because slavery in many forms still exists all over the world. And we have to have a formal declaration that we are against it. So I use MySpace to talk to the young people, and if they agree with me, they send in their names, and eventually I would like to, when I write to the president, use all the names, and I have a few hundred now. Well, but they believe also in apology, and we will see what happens.
Would you like to see President Bush address this before he leaves office?
Well, of course, I think he has a lot of other problems that he may feel are more important and pending. But of course, I think that would be a great thing for the President Bush to do before he leaves office. See, we must be leaders in the world. We must set an example. And I just think that's one very important. When I study all the treatment of the African Americans, we owe them an apology. And now they are contributing so much to our country in so many fields, in entertainment, in the government, and that's just something that should be done. People laugh. I said, you know, if I succeed in that, I might go to Cairo and ask the Egyptians to apologize for keeping the Jews in slavery 3,000 years ago.
You are a very ambitious man. You are a very ambitious man. Let me, Mr. Douglas, let me ask you about one other thing I noticed on your MySpace page, where you have an amazing 3,500 friends. You have another campaign going. You'd like to meet Angelina Jolie, you tell us, if my wife lets me. And I wondered how that campaign was going.
I couldn't hear the last thing that you said.
I'm sorry. You have a second campaign on your MySpace page to meet Angelina Jolie, and I wondered how that campaign was going.
Well, I made a joke. What I mean is I'm proud of all the people in my profession that are concerned with the problems of the world. And Angelina Jolie is one person that has done a lot, and has Brad Pitt, Jerry Lewis with his telethon every year to help handicapped children, and George Clooney, Bono, and so many others. I'm proud of them because in the industry that is recognized all over the world, that brings entertainment to all people. It pleases me to see my colleagues also interested in solving the problem in the world.
I want to ask you, I make my living writing and ghostwriting books, and I know it's not easy, and it takes a certain mental organization and drive. You of course had a stroke 10 years ago, and I know you've come back a long way. But how do you manage to produce these books and with all the?
Bob, I don't consider myself a writer, although I've written 9 books. I consider myself an actor, and I just say what I think, and my assistant put it in a computer, then he prints it out, and I look at it, and I might make corrections, or I might say, hey, Kirk, that's pretty good. I don't try to be, quote, a writer, unquote. I just try to express myself the way I talk, which is very difficult for me now after my stroke. But I just express how I feel. Did you understand me?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh.
Absolutely. I wondered, has any story that you've told in these autobiographical books gotten you in trouble with a friend?
Got me in trouble?
Yeah.
With what?
Well, maybe a friend or someone you've told a story about. Maybe they didn't want that story told.
Well, listen, it's a free country. When I do a blog and MySpace, I don't expect everyone to agree with me. The other day, one guy sent me an email, and he was so rough on me, and he didn't agree with me. I answered him, and I told him, I said, listen, we are in a free country. You can think whatever you want to think and express yourself. All I want to do is encourage young people to think about the world around them, to think about things not that's too selfish. To prepare them for when they grow up and they will be taking over the country.
Hmm. You know, I would never ask you if you had a favorite child or grandchild. That wouldn't be fair. But I do want to ask if you have a favorite book that you've written.
A favorite person?
A favorite book that you've written.
A favorite book that I wrote?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, it happened to be my last book, because I don't think I will write another book. But my last book, let's face it, as I said, is dedicated to younger people. And I believe as I get older and older that, as someone said, it's a shame to die before you do something good for humanity. I have been very lucky in life, and to show my appreciation, I have to try to do something for other people. My wife and I just completed a campaign to build 400 playgrounds in the schools of Los Angeles, because our children are forgotten by politicians because they don't vote, and the whole education system should be improved, because our country will become stronger and better if we take better care of our children. And one way of doing that is to improve the educational system. You know, my wife said, you know, Kirk, for a guy who can't talk, you talk a lot. So I hope you understood me.
I did. I'll be honest, I remember when you had the stroke, and I think it's been amazing, the recovery that you've made and what you've accomplished. And I want to tell everybody who's listening to check out Kirk Douglas's MySpace page. You can search him by name and find him on MySpace, and join his legion of thousands of friends. And I know that there are hundreds and probably millions of people who consider themselves fans that may never find their way to MySpace, but appreciate all that you've done, both on screen and now with your campaign for the children.
Bob, let's talk again.
I would be delighted. Perhaps we could. I can wish you a happy 92nd birthday in December.
92.
Yep. And let me get out one more plug for the paperback edition of Let's Face It: 90 Years of Living, Loving, and Learning by Kirk Douglas, just released. You can find that at great bookstores everywhere, or Amazon.com, or it will be available on MrMedia.com. And Mr. Douglas, thank you so much for joining us on Mr. Media today.
I couldn't say it better. Thank you very much.
All right. Be healthy, sir. Thank you for your time. So that was wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Douglas. And folks, for dozens more celebrity and media newsmaker interviews, surf over to our main website, www.mrmedia.com. That's where you can listen to my previous conversations with people like Billy Bob Thornton, Cheryl Hines, all kinds of actors, directors, producers, lots more stuff there, MrMedia.com. And please think about writing an online review of Mr. Media, casting a vote for Mr. Media, or marking Mr. Media as one of your favorites. Whether you listen to the show on Blog Talk Radio, DigitalJournal.com, Podcast Pickle, Vox.com, Folio, MediaFly.com, Podfeed.net, Blueberry, Zencast, Odeo, iTunes, or coming soon, to Kindle. If you've got an idea for a guest, email me directly at bob@andelman, ANDELMAN.com. And folks, thanks so much for joining us today on Mr. Media. I always appreciate when you give us a little piece of your day and share it with us. Come back real soon, everybody.
Okay, before you go, I just want to remind you that Audible.com was our sponsor today, and you can get a free audiobook with a 30-day trial today by signing up at www.audible.com/trynow. TRYNOW. Again, a free audiobook with a 30-day trial today by signing up at www.audible.com/trynow. I don't know about you, but that Johnny Cash biography, as read by Chris Christopherson, I think I'm going to grab that one right now.